Usually, when you have a fight with a loved one, do you storm out of the house and go hang out with your friends? Since you can't do any of those things right now, how do you handle having fights? No matter how much you love someone, being with them 24/7 is a challenge. So if you want to know how to avoid having fights, or you want to know how to resolve them better, then this video is for you. What do you do when you get into an argument? Do you explode with words, or do you use the silent treatment? Hi and welcome to Up It. My name is Peyton. I'm a performance life coach and the CEO of Up It. There is that saying, too much of anything or anyone can really be too much. So if you want to maintain your sanity as well as the peace at home, keep watching. In the current scenario that we are in, whether you're living with your folks, siblings, spouse, or even friends, you need to be mindful that the stress levels can be higher than usual. So it's only natural if you or your loved ones feel more irritable and more short-tempered. That's it. We need to understand that the unprecedented circumstances that we're in right now, it's only natural to feel more irritable, short-tempered, and which can lead to more conflicts than usual. However, the key here is to understand that while having fights and conflicts may be inevitable, but resolving fights in a healthy manner without being resentful is a choice that you have. Now, of course, each family dynamic is different, and if you are living with loved ones who never argue with you, then you are a lucky AF. For the rest of us, we need techniques to deal with bitter words. So let's get into it. Here are 4 things that can help you resolve a fight in a better way. Step number 1 is preempt. Are there some things that your loved ones have complained to you about you? Something that you do or don't do? Think of some of those things which can potentially be a trigger for them right now. Thinking about things that can cause conflicts is a smart thing to do, because when they do arise, you will be better prepared to handle them. Step number 2 is stop playing the victim. Since it takes 2 to tango, next time you find yourself in a conflict, before you think that you are not to be blamed, take a couple of deep breaths and think about the role you have played to either start or continue the fight. And I know it may be tempting to think that you did not do anything, but think again. Step number 3 is don't make it worse. Now, whether you started the fight or you got roped into it, you always have a choice to neutralize it. Remember the mantra, if you can't fix it immediately, then don't make it worse. Now, perhaps this is the most difficult step, but also the most needed. And while there are no points for this, but doing this for yourself and for your loved ones will help you feel a lot better. Step number 4 is don't take it personally. Okay, agreed. You may be on the receiving end of your loved one's irritation or mood swings. You totally don't deserve it. But as we discussed, especially right now, they may be going through anxiety, frustration, and you taking their words literally and personally does not help the situation. Instead, choose to be more sympathetic and supportive of them, because God knows everybody needs that right now. Now, while these steps may not be easy, they definitely will mitigate the argument and help you resolve your fights in a better way. But hey, wait a second. What about the frustration and anger that you feel? Of course that matters, which is why you should learn how to handle your feelings without letting resentment take over. Here's how resentment works. If you don't take the time to process what's been said to you, or if someone has done something to you, it can bring up resentment in the form of negative thoughts toward that person. So it's extremely critical that you are mindful of what happens to you, what are your feelings and emotions that you feel about the conflict that you just had with a loved one. While we spoke of how to resolve a fight, it does not mean that you should not honor your own feelings. The anger, the hurt, the feelings that you have are very real and they need to be addressed accordingly. However, feeling bitter about the fight is not going to help you. Instead, you can choose to forgive and move on. The way you do this is by acknowledging that yes, the fight happened and some bitter words were exchanged. However, what happens post the fight is something that is 100% up to you. Take your time to process what has happened, whether it is to sulk, to be angry, but take your alone time. The way to go about it would be to give yourself a time. So say you need an hour a day to calm down. Decide how you choose to react to what has happened. Deciding that you'll hold on to your feelings for an X amount of time will give you the much needed time to really get over the nastiness and the bitterness of any conflict. And lastly, remember, right now everybody's tense, and the last thing we need to do is to add more to that tension. So even though fights are unavoidable, at least choose to not make it worse and give yourself enough time to process and to forgive and to move through any conflicts. Because in the end, and I'm going to say this even though it sounds corny, love is what truly matters. So that's my time for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I'll be back next Tuesday. You can also check out our Actionables podcast, which airs every Thursday. You can hit me up on social. My handle on Instagram is Payden's Life. For personalized help with your goals, check out my company on upitaway.com. So stay safe and choose love and kindness. I'll see you next week.